Wow, welcome everybody. We've got tons of people on here already. It's nice to see you on here. Feel free to share your screen if you'd like to. Feel free to unmute your mics if you have comments or questions or things that you want to add to the discussion. If you're new to this group, you know that we record these classes every single Tuesday. Same time, same place. If you are not getting the emails for the Zoom links emailed to your inbox, please go to janetthurgood.com, JANETTHURgood.com, and you'll be able to register your information onto that website and get yourself registered so that you can receive the invitations every single week. So today is a really cool topic, and it was inspired by about 4 or 5 different, not questions, but conversations that I've had with just people in my sphere of influence. Some were friends, some were family, some were previous clients of mine, lots of people going through emotional stuff and relationship stuff right now. So I think this was a very inspired topic by the divine. So today, the title of the class is How to Fix All of Your Relationships. Yes, every last relationship, every single one. You know, it's interesting because the relationships that we have with other people in the world are primarily, Heather says, you are good. Yes, that's awesome. Our relationships are primarily reflections. They're mirror images or reflections of, hold on, I got to let people into the class just a second. They are reflections of how we see ourselves, what's going on inside of ourselves, what's been unresolved within us from the pains of the past. When we get into connection with other humans and we call that relationship, oftentimes what will happen is that these other humans will trigger something inside of us that has not been resolved from your past, from your history. And so it's actually a blessing when you have very volatile relationships that trigger you often in a healthy way, right? Oh, let me put on my mic. You probably cannot hear me very well. So it's actually a blessing when those things happen and when those kinds of people come into your existence, because they are a reminder to you that there's inner work to be done, that you have got some introspection, you've got some self-awareness that needs to take place. And that's the purpose for relationships. If you want to fix all of the relationships that you're in, and if most of the relationships that you're in are struggling, then the way to fix them is to focus on you, is to work on you. It's to go within. So as we journey with people on our soul's path, and as people trigger us and bother us and maybe sometimes do us wrong a little bit, in many ways, maybe not in all ways, because some relationships that we have with people are just downright not necessary and not healthy. But for the most part, when people in your life present something to you that's uncomfortable and they push a button in you, it's usually because there's something in you that you need to go inside and ponder on and take care of and become more self-aware of. And the thing that's beautiful about this is that it causes us to come from a more humble state if we're willing to step into the awareness. So type into the chat box the number 1 if you are experiencing any kind of discord or disharmony in any of your relationships, whether it's a spousal relationship or with a child or a parent, or I just want to know who all is experiencing this anomaly. Yeah, Heather's that 11111. Yes. Okay, good. Good. Relationship can tell us a lot about ourselves. And oftentimes, what we experience in the relationships that we're in, whether they be difficult or challenging, some of the greatest challenges if we allow it, can ultimately end up being some of the deepest connections. And maybe if the relationship falls away because it's not able to continue any longer, sometimes that too can be a blessing because it creates more self-awareness in us and an opportunity for us to arise and ascend and overcome and learn. So in many ways, the people who bother you the most and trigger you the most on this planet are actually doing you a favor, because they're helping you take that time and that opportunity to go within and learn a little something about you. So the essence of this class is, if you want to heal all of your relationships, you have to go inside and you have to learn how to connect to you first before you can confidently connect with other people. I hope that makes sense. As human beings, we are hardwired to want to connect. We're hardwired to have that desire for human to human connection and companionship. It's very meaningful for us. Connection is everything. And so if we want that in a healthy way in all of our external relationships, we have to learn how to connect with us first, and also with the divine, which is God. If you can learn how to do that, connect to yourself first and connect to the divine first, then a lot of the challenges and a lot of the struggles will start to melt away in your unhealthy relationships. Okay. Some of you have read the Bhagavad Gita. It is an ancient Eastern type of holy writ. And in there is a quote that I love to use, and we use it a lot in these classes. And the quote from this book is, "The greatest struggle in life is the struggle for self-mastery and self-awareness." And oftentimes those greatest struggles will come to us through connections with other humans. We're going to bump into people. We're going to rub people wrong, or they will rub us wrong. And we'll have these agitating feelings about them. Usually it's because there's something going on inside of you that isn't resolved. There's some way inside of you that you've been judging yourself. So codependency is one of the greatest causes of stress in human to human relationships. And isn't it interesting that codependency is the way that we're taught? It's the way that we're conditioned in this world. If you watch any movie or any love story or read any romance novel, or just look around you at the way that family and companionship is portrayed in religion, in religious structure, but also in society and also in the media. The whole world is drenched in codependency. And that's a problem because codependency, manipulation, control, narcissism, these kinds of unhealthy ways to interact with other people is starting to become an epidemic on the planet. Heather says, "I'm currently deep in shadow work and it's uncomfortably healing." Yes, it is. Yes, especially when someone else outside of us within relationship or within connection triggers us to have to go within and look inside. And that takes tremendous awareness, and it takes tremendous humility. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the more that you go within and heal the inner wounded part of yourself from the past that has come up with all of these unhealthy limiting beliefs about yourself that make you sad and that hurt to think about, the more that you heal that aspect of yourself from the past, from the pains of the past, the more codependency and narcissism and some of these unhealthy ways to connect and to have companionship will start to melt away and go away from your reality. Either those relationships will kind of fall away from you and you'll evolve into newer relationships, or those relationships that are painful and toxic and not healthy will begin to heal. It'll be a catalyst for healing for the both of you, whether it is parent-child or whether it is a committed, loving, romantic relationship. So again, I'm going to reiterate this again because I feel like this is really important. I think that we as human beings are hardwired to want connection. It's one of the basic human needs. Each of us is seeking to be seen and heard, and to feel like we can connect deeply and profoundly with another human, somebody who sees us, someone who understands, somebody who vibrates at the same wavelength, who has the same goals and passions and dreams, and who can share the best parts of themselves with you. We're all seeking that. But you're never going to find it as long as you are aligning with the laws of suffering. So I'm going to share my screen for just a minute, and we're going to talk about the 6 basic causes of human suffering. We talk about this a lot in these classes. You've heard this multiple times from me, and if you have, I'm not sorry. Because we need to hear it. We need to be reminded of these things over and over. So let me go into screen share. Hold on a second. Let's see. Here it is. I'm just going to share the 6 causes of human suffering. We're not going to go too deep into these because this is not the focal point of the class today. If you want, I'll include this in the handouts of this class. And again, you can go purchase the handouts for all of the classes for the year 2022 over on my website, janetthurgood.com/courses. And you can find it there, the entire year's worth of classes. Hold on. Minnie says, I've been working on the word trigger. Trigger means to me that I'm allowing others to determine my reaction. I don't want to be triggered anymore. I want to decide my reaction by being triggered. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. That's called awareness. Okay, so 6 causes of human suffering. Number 1, you don't know who you are. You're going to suffer. Number 2, putting expectations onto people and circumstances. This is really where I want to focus our attention today, is anytime you put unhealthy expectations onto people and circumstances, it's a recipe for suffering, because people will always let you down because they don't know what's in your head. Number 3, holding on to lower level emotions caused by limiting beliefs, usually from the pains of your past. This creates inner chaos, and that stuff comes with biological consequences. So how do we get limiting beliefs? Usually when you go through a trauma or a drama in your life, then you might notice that you start feeling badly about yourself. Hold on, let me admit people into the room. There we go. And when you start feeling badly about yourself, we have a tendency to blame other people for that, but it's not other people's. They didn't create that self disapproval within you. You created it based on limiting beliefs like I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy, or I don't measure up, or I don't fit, or whatever the belief is. Number 4, fear of loss and fear of impermanence, which this just means that you're operating in a finite existence, a finite paradigm. And the reality is you aren't finite. You are an infinite being. You are a divine, infinite being, eternal being that does not know death or loss or even birth. Those things are paradigms given to us by this mortal dimension. And it's a lower level dimension that comes with lower level emotions around those things. Number 5, fear of death. Again, if you believe in death, then you believe in impermanence. You believe in the temporary, the finite, and it simply is not truth. It's not real. Number 6, fear of social non-acceptance, meaning people won't like me and I won't fit in. If you're clinging to any one of these 6 things, and take some time in your life to just kind of step away and examine, am I operating from any of these places? And if you are, chances are it's not going to feel good. You're going to feel bad in some way. Okay, so there are the 6 causes of human suffering. And so I want us to focus on those things in relation to how we relate to other humans on this planet, people that we care about, people that we want to care for us. The best way to do that is to go within. So I'm going to take you through a little exercise. I want everybody to just slow your energy down and go within your body. We're going to go into a guided self-awareness exercise. So just take your breath and slow it down. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. I really want you guys to take an opportunity to become present. And one of the fastest ways to get into the present moment now is to slow down the movements of your physical body. So one thing that you could do is move your hand or move your arm or move your thumb. Take your thumb from this position and go to this position as slowly as you possibly can. So for example, it would take you an hour to go from here to here. So I want you to just set your thumb in your lap and just move it ever so slowly to the degree that you start to become aware of your physical body. And breathe. Do not hold your breath. Allow your attention to start to go within your body. Breathing in. Slow down the energy. Breathe out, drop your shoulders. Relax. Let go. I really want to invite you to go into that energy of non-resistance. And the best way to do that is to slow your body down. Breathe in, breathe out. Drop your attention down, 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 deep into your body until you sink down into your hips at the base of the spine, down through your legs, your knees, your ankles, your feet. Put your awareness under your feet. When you breathe in your higher self. Bring that into your body deeply. When you breathe out, push that light out, push that energy out in every direction, above you, below you, in front of you, behind you. Breathe in, breathe out. Allow your light, your essence, your energy to expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Let your presence touch the floor, the walls, the ceiling, the corners. Breathe it out. Bring your higher self in on the inhale, breathing in, I am. When you breathe out, just shine through the physical body. Shining bigger and bigger and bigger. I want you to feel that expanded energy moving out in every direction, above you, below you, in front of you, behind you. It's as if you stepped into the center of the sun and the sun stepped into the center of you. And just relax. I really want to invite you to soften all the tension. So look for those little pockets where you're holding on to tense muscles or tightness and let it go, especially on the exhale. Breathing in, taking in your higher self into every bone, every tissue, every muscle, every cell. into the center of your bones. Breathe into the center of your bones. Breathe out and shine through those bones. Shine through every single particle of material that makes up your body. Go within. Shine out on that exhale. Push that light out. Now, as you're in there, in your body, go into that stillness. Now look for little pockets of tension that come up as I ask these questions, and you're going to notice, but I want you to become very hyper aware of your body. I want you to become hyper aware of the sensations in your body. I'm going to ask a series of questions, and I want you to notice which ones trigger you, which ones bother you, and where does that energy show up for you in your body? Where's the sensation of it? First question, do you feel guilt that you aren't measuring up to what others expect of you? Notice where you feel it. Do you feel a constant pressure to be something other than what you know you are? Because people need you to be that. Someone needs you to be something that you're not. Ooh, I'm feeling that. Where do you guys feel it? Notice it. Continue to breathe and soften. Keep your awareness inside your body. Slow down. Go into that slow energy. Do you expect things of others, and are they constantly letting you down and disappointing you? Your children, your spouse, your lover, your companion, your friends, your coworkers, your employees. Do you expect things of others and they're constantly letting you down? Ooh, where do you feel it? Do you give in to get along? Or maybe you work your butt off to try to get noticed in a relationship, and instead what happens is you feel like you're invisible to them? Where do you feel that energy? Do you lean into a relationship too much? Do you lean in on someone else too much because you're afraid of letting go, or you're afraid of losing, or you're afraid of something? You're afraid of disappointing them. Breathe into that. Let it go. As these triggers come up for you, as we're going through these questions, I just want you to notice where you feel it. Continue to breathe and soften and expand. Go right into the center of where you feel these feelings of discomfort, and expand those feelings out until you let them go. Are you needy? Are you controlling? Do you manipulate others to get what you need and what you want? Do you need people to show up a certain way so that you can feel safe? So then you control them covertly. You say you're not, but you do. And if you are controlling, how are you doing that? Are you willing to be honest with yourself? How are you controlling? How are you manipulating? And why? Why do you need to manipulate others? We all do it. Even if you don't consider yourself to be a manipulator, we all do it. So why, in the circumstances you find yourself in relationship, why do you do it? Why do you manipulate to get what you feel you need? What do you need that you aren't getting? And why aren't you getting it? You may want to write some of these thoughts and these ideas down as you get more clear in what's going on within you. What's happening in there? Do you make demands? Do you call the shots? Do you fly off the handle when emotions get big inside of you? Are you afraid of losing a relationship because there's stuff going on inside of you that you can't control? Perhaps you push people away because they're clinging too much or their intensity is too much for you. Do you push them away because they lean in on you and cling to you and make you feel smothered and make you feel like you're drowning? And what's going on inside of you about that? Again, do you fly off the handle or do you just sweep your emotions underneath the rug, pretending that they don't exist and that they're not there and they're not real? Ooh, breathe in, breathe out. Take some notes if you need to, but I really want you to stay centered. I really want you to stay grounded. I want you to notice what's coming up inside your body and where. If you're brave enough to share, please do share. Where's the heaviness coming up for you? Where are you feeling a dense energy, a heaviness, a pain, a suffering of sorts in you? Is there tightness? Is there stabbing? Is there an emptiness? Is there wounding? Is there emotion? And where do you feel the physical sensation in your body? Please type that into the chat if you're willing to share. I'll give you feedback on some of the things that can be about. Tightness around my heart. Okay. Linnea, I love your name, by the way. Okay, so tightness in the chest or the heart is about grief. Sometimes guilt will live there. Guilt is usually a little lower, but grief, sadness, and also the heart is what manages laws of love. So who do you need to forgive? Linnea, just write that down on your paper. You can keep that to yourself if you want, but who do you need to forgive? Kaylee, oh, now we've got lots coming through. So let me just go back a little bit. We've got Kaylee having heaviness and tightness around the throat and the heart. So the throat is about speaking your truth. It's the chimney to your soul, right? Like this is where your truth is supposed to come out. This and your hands. It rises from your core. It comes up through your throat and out through your hands. And you can tell where you're at heart-wise because you either want to hit somebody or hug somebody. These are expressors. These and this, the mouth. Okay, so speaking your truth. What is preventing you, Kaylee, from speaking your truth? That's in the throat and the heart. And who do you need to forgive? Who's stepping on your ability to speak up? And is there a circumstance in any of your relationships where you know you need to stand up and speak out, but you can't because something's preventing that? So just look into that. Let's become very self-aware here. Minnie says, I feel at peace right now, but I've been working on this for the past 4 years now. Okay, good. Just notice, keep noticing where you feel any tension, any tightness, any discomfort in your body. Megan says tight neck and anxious heart. It looks like lots of throat and heart. So let's go through the forgiveness exercise right now. Tightness below the rib cage. Pretend I don't have feelings. Anxious heart. Again, anxious heart. Okay. My gut also below the rib cage, like Kristen. Okay. Let's go into forgiveness. So I want you to think about, in what ways are you not able to speak up and speak out or make choice? Is there someone in your life, in any relationship, that's stepping on your personal power, your ability to choose, your ability to speak? If you have a hard time speaking the words that you want to speak because somebody else is doing something that's triggering you or preventing you or bothering you or agitating you or aggravating you, look into that. If someone has cold hands, poor circulation in their hands, numbness, yes. Okay, so hands is, again, another extension of heart. It's an extension of your heart. So we're going to go into the heart space right now. Everybody drop your awareness back into your body. I want you to pay attention to how much this energy resides in you. If you could give it a number, the discomfort that you're feeling physiologically, if you can identify where is the tightness, some of you already have, give it a number on a scale from 0 to 10. If 10 is the worst that it could possibly be, what number would you give it? Drop those into the chat box and let me know what numbers those are. Just type in where it is, like heart, it's at a 10, or throat, it's at an 8, or gut, it's at a 6. Gut, 6. Just the place and the number. Type that into the chat. Breathe in, breathe out. Everybody go into your body. I want you to close your eyes and go within. I want you to notice that heavy feeling. Yes, throat 6, top of the head 2, gut 8, throat 5. Notice that tightness. Notice how you feel like you're being strangled. Why are you being strangled? What's holding you back from speaking your truth? Is there fear in you? Just below both breasts, top of the rib cage, that's your power center. So who is stepping all over your personal power, your boundaries? Who is disrespecting your boundaries? And do you even set up and establish proper boundaries? Do you have boundaries? Do you let people know what those are? Do you let people know, hey, this isn't going to work for me. I'm sorry. I love you, but this is not working for me. I'm out. Do you establish what works for you and what does not? Okay. Yes, I do establish boundaries. Okay, so if it is not about boundaries, then is it about personal power and sovereignty? Sovereignty is something that we're going to get into a little bit later, but sovereignty is about not needing anybody or anything outside of you to make you feel complete or whole. So I just want you to look inside of yourself. Is there anything that I have in my external world that I need it to show up a certain way so that I can feel complete and whole? Lorianne has below the knees at about a 7. Good. Okay, so I want you to notice, Lorianne, what in your life or in your relationships, where do you not feel safe, and why don't you feel safe in close relationships that have this some sort of intimacy to them? Tight, aching, tingling knots in the right shoulder blade, running down my right arm down to fingertips. Okay, so the right side is the masculine side. It's about giving. So what's going on in your connected, loving relationships where you feel like you cannot give out? Armor around my heart. That's a good way to put it, Olivia. So why do you feel like you need to create a big wall around your heart? Who's trying to get in there and occupy that space and tear down the wall? And why is that scary to let people in? Is there a trauma? Is there something that happened that made you afraid to open up your heart and be vulnerable with others? Did you get rejected? Did you get beaten down? Was there abuse? Was there, just kind of look inside of yourself. Everybody look into your own situation, into your own life. We're going to go into a forgiveness exercise because most people have heart stuff coming up. The heart is about laws of love. It's where the lungs are where we store grief and sadness. Breathe into that. I want you to just say out loud, I bless, and then say their name. Whoever is coming to mind that you need to forgive. I bless them. Say it a few times, depending on how extreme the feeling is in this relationship that's triggering you really badly. You may need to say it a couple of times. I bless them. I release them from my suffering. Breathe in, breathe out, let go, let go, let go. Notice where the tension is, if it's in your back or your shoulders or your arms or your legs. Let those muscles soften. I bless them, I release them from my suffering, and I forgive them for projecting their suffering onto me. Breathe in, breathe out. I really want you to pay attention to what's going on in your body. If there's tension under the ribs or in the gut or in your back, go to those muscles and invite them to soften as you breathe into that space. Also, go there in your imagination. Go into that space energetically and expand those particles out. Push them out with the exhale. So when you breathe, go into that space where it's the heaviest. And when you breathe out, push that light within you out through that space and let it expand and expand, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Growing, growing, growing. Make more space in your body. You may have to use your imagination to get there, but make more space in your body. Spread those particles out. If it's particles of anger or bitterness or sadness, spread them out, expand them out, push them out into the light. Use your inner light to shine right through this energy that's heavy and cloudy and gunky and dense. Use your inner light to shine right through the fog, literally piercing the darkness, going right through your body, your bones. Go deep into the center of your bones now and just shine right through them. Most importantly, I want you to go to the place where you feel the most density, the most heaviness, and shine through it. Breathe. We're going to do a series of 15 fire breaths just to wake up your body, wake up the energy, and get the energy and the blood flowing. We want oxygen flowing. We want blood flowing because that's what's going to make energy flow. It's moving because your blood's flowing. So let's do some deep breathing. It's going to go in through your nose, out through the mouth. Let's just do about 15 of those. In, out, in, out, in, out. Ready, go. Stay in your body. Don't hold your breath. Slow that breath down. Notice more space in your face and your head. Keep breathing. Put your attention down at the base of the spine. Drop your shoulders on the exhale. Good. Good. Keep softening. As you continue in this recovery breath, I want you to keep your awareness inside. Just think about being inside your body, dropped down to the base of the spine. This is a connecting point to your higher self. It's important that you stay there. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we need to fill this inner self, this inner vessel, with love. The same love that you were expecting other people or circumstances to fill you with, but they didn't because they couldn't. I want you to go within and fill you with that love, doing your own inner work. Oh, breathe in, breathe out. So you need to work on this inner stuff inside of you. Because that's what needs attention, especially when it gets triggered in a relationship. And you start having these emotions and feelings going through you that feel heavy and dense and not good. And you start not feeling good about yourself, then you start to beat yourself up. And that feels even worse. So you need to fill you back up with love. You're the only one that can do it. It's not your mother's job. It's not your father's job to fill you with love and to make you feel whole and complete in the world. It's not your spouse's job to gift you with the levels of love that you need in order for you to feel whole and complete and safe. That's not their job. Now, as a companion, we have those expectations, right, in our companionships with others, but it's not their job to make you feel completed. Not their job. That's your job. You need to nurture you in order for you to feel whole and complete. If you don't do that, you'll fall back into the trap of codependency. That's what happens. Codependency will reduce as we heal our own inner wounding. I think I've said that 3 times now so far, but it's a major theme for this class today. So, wow, I'm having a twitch in my eye. Sometimes the greatest challenges in your relationships will come to you because it's an opportunity for you to self-reflect. It's an opportunity for you to become more self-aware. It's also an opportunity for you to really learn what deep connection looks like. When you see people in your world around you that have deep, intimate, loving connections with each other, how do you think they got there? They got there by overcoming. They got there by overcoming themselves. They got there by overcoming each other. They got there by overcoming the triggers. They got there by rising above the lower level emotions, what love isn't. They were pushed to the edges of what love isn't so that they could move themselves together into a place of what love really is. Charity is long-suffering. Mike says, thank you for talking about our parents. I need to release mine from fulfilling my lack of love. Yeah, parent wounding, parent-child wounding, and vice versa is huge. And if you're a parent who has had children reject you or turn away from you or push you away or push you out of their lives, there is no pain deeper than that, I don't think. Especially when you've gone down into the depths of the valley of the shadow of death to bring them into life. There's no pain deeper than that. And so, but you can't force them to love you. You can't force them to complete you. It's not your child's job to make you feel like a good parent. It's your job. That's on you. So when you start letting go of the neediness and the wantiness and the codependency towards others, the way that you tether to others in an unhealthy way, now you get to be sovereign. So everyone continue to go within as we're talking. I really want you to become aware of how is your body responding to all of this? What's coming up for you? Breathe in, breathe out. Continue to let your body release and soften and let go. Notice where you're storing it. So now I want to move this conversation into the foundation for, rather than a codependent relationship, I want to talk about what is required in order to have an interdependent relationship where two independent, sovereign, autonomous beings can then come together in a healthy space and relate to one another through unconditional, non-limited love. How does that happen? I came up with 6 different concepts or principles to add to this discussion. If you can think of more, please interject. Please unmute your mic, raise your hand, type it into the chat. Because I'm not the receptacle of all truth that there is. And again, my disclaimer for all my classes, if any of this stuff resonates with you, it didn't come from me, it came from the divine. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then put it away, let it go. It's not for you. Your job is to seek for truth that resonates with you, that is for you, and that comes from God, not from me. Okay, principle number 1. How do we create a foundation for an interdependent relationship? I want you guys to be thinking of answers and contribute. I'll share with you 6 that I came up with. First one is self-awareness. This is the first step in getting away from codependency and stepping into sovereignty and autonomy so that you can relate to other humans at that same level in a place of confidence. So awareness, having a deeper level of sense of self, a self-awareness of what's going on inside of me. A great illustration of this is several years ago, Dave, my husband, and I, we were in a discussion, argument, disagreement. It was actually painful. We were kind of throwing things back and forth at each other that weren't nice, and allowing for the emotions to kind of run the conversation that actually ended up being just a painful experience for both of us. We were both being triggered by each other. And then we said things that were hurtful that we actually didn't mean. Anyways, in that, I couldn't bear it anymore. And so I abruptly cut off the conversation and just went into the house. I just said, I can't talk about this anymore. And I went into the house, went into my bedroom, went into my closet. And as I'm sitting there, just kind of feeling sad, like I'm feeling really hurt. My heart's hurting. I'm feeling this pain inside of my body, and I'm blaming it all on him, right? Like, he's so mean. What a jerk. And then all of a sudden this vision opens up of myself, and I'm standing there. I feel like my heart's being stabbed with a dagger, and I'm holding it. I'm the one holding the dagger, thrusting it into my heart over and over. And I realize this wounding is on me. He triggered it for sure. He pushed a button, but I created that button based on my old wounds that I have not healed and that I have not reconciled. That's on me. So what is the story that's coming up inside of you? What do you need to resolve? What do you need to reconcile? This is going to take a tremendous amount of humility. Tremendous amount of humility. But I promise you that if you're willing to go there and willing to be humble, you can be set free from the suffering in your relationships, all of them. I promise you. Principle number 2, accountability. You're in charge. It's the accountability for what you decide to do with the feelings that come up inside of you. That's on you. You might not be to blame for those feelings. Maybe you got bullied on the playground, or maybe somebody really legitimately hurt you bad. They harmed you. They wronged you. They did something evil against you. That's not your fault. You're not accountable for that. But you are responsible for what you're going to do with it. It's an experience you had. You're responsible for what you're going to do about that moving forward. How are you going to interpret that? That's on you. How are you going to allow it to either change you or bitter you? That's on you. That's what I mean when I say accountability. This is on you. And again, it takes tons of humility to be honest with yourself. What's going on inside of me that I need to look at more deeply? What am I doing? Where am I wounded? And how am I projecting that wounding onto others when they push my buttons? So if someone is pushing your buttons, why? Why do you have the button? How did that get created? So be willing to humble yourself. Be willing to make an accounting for what's going on inside of you. And where did that come from? Was there a past trauma or drama or something that happened in your life that you haven't reconciled or you haven't healed or you haven't been able to overcome yet? Take a look at that. Maybe there's just some letting go. Maybe you just need to learn how to let go so that you don't have to feel that heaviness anymore or that trigger. You know, when you start letting these buttons go and releasing them, people can't push them anymore because they don't exist. Third principle is sovereignty. We talk a lot about sovereignty. In fact, next year, starting January, the entire year is going to be all about sovereignty. We're going to talk about it. We're going to heal about it. We're going to step into it boldly this coming year. So buckle up. You should be excited. Sovereignty is standing in your own beingness and not expecting or needing anything outside of you or anyone outside of you to complete you. You stand in a place of confidence and independence, all on your own, as if you are the only human in the universe. And that is a scary place to go because nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to cut ties with people that we think are supposed to fill our cup. Nobody wants to disconnect. We're all hungry for connection, but you can't have a healthy connection until you disconnect in every way, shape, or form. Stop expecting everybody else to complete you and fill you. It's not their job. It's your job to be independent so that then when you're ready and you've overcome all of that stuff, then you can be interdependent. You can share the best parts of yourself with another human. That's deep connection. And if you can be humble enough to go through the gateway of humility, stepping into charity, then those people that are triggering you in your life right now, some of those connections will heal. And those will be some of the most powerful, potent, loving, meaningful connections you have ever had in your life. The people who trigger you the most have the greatest potential to be some of the deepest, most profound connections ever. And I will go as far as to say, Dave and I have experienced that. We have definitely experienced lots of triggering in our marriage and in our relationship to the brink of where both of us were probably looking for the exit strategy. Get me out. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't be here anymore. But guess what? When you become self-aware enough and on the heels of humility, then you get to experience what charity is, what love really is, because you've also experienced the outer edges of what it is not. Pain. It's pain and suffering, right? You've been through that pain and suffering. You've inflicted pain and suffering, and you've had to forgive over and over and over. I have said this a few times in these classes that the sign of a healthy relationship is two people who have mastered the art of humility and forgiveness over and over and over. When you can bow your head in deep humility and own your own inner gunk, what's going on inside of you, and take responsibility for that. And then say, I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Then that's a gateway to experiencing deep levels of the highest form of love. That's ecstasy. Then you can really, that's what builds trust in a relationship. Any relationship is that open heart, because you have self-awareness. And now you're in a sovereign place. No one can tip you over, and you're not going to push anybody else over to get what you want. You're just sovereign and autonomous. Now you can just be the love that you are, because you're full of it. You're filled with that love. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. So principle number 4 is exercise free will. It is vital in all your relationships that you grant people their free will. Let them show up however they're going to show up. And you show up how you're going to show up. Nobody has the right to prevent you from being you. Nobody. Nobody has that right. And so at some point, fear or not, you have to be willing to stand up, and speak out. Speak your truth and let your truth be heard and known. You can do that in a loving way. There are ways to do that. The more self-aware you become, the more humble you become, the more you enter that gateway of charity, and it becomes a natural process. But free will, you guys, is vital. You cannot build a healthy relationship if there is a lack of free will. You have to honor that in others. You have to meet them where they are, but you also have to honor it in yourself. That means choose. What do you love? What do you want? What are you looking for? What do you need? Fill your inner vessel with that stuff, the stuff that fills you with love. If you're not filled with love on a regular basis by you, how in the world are you going to meet anybody else in your life with love? How are you going to love the people in your world, your spouse, your children, your parents, your loved ones? How will you love them if you're not full of love? So you got to choose things that fill you with love. And I don't care if that's a new dress, a new painting, a trip to the Bahamas. I don't care what it is that you've got to do to fill yourself with loving feelings. It may not be any of those things. It might just be taking the time to go within and letting go of what is not you. Meryl says, what if speaking your truth hurts others? Well, make sure that when you're speaking your truth, you're doing the best that you can to come from a place of love. If you're coming from a place of love, then your truth is not hurting others. It's actually going to benefit them in the long run, because they probably need to hear it. As painful as that might sound, sometimes the truth hurts, because in so many of our relationships, we're not truthful with ourselves. We're not being honest with ourselves. So you getting vulnerable in a relationship that you have with someone and saying, you know, the truth really is, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling sad, because when you talk about XYZ, it reminds me of when I was abused as a child, or, you know, whatever it is. Be willing to open yourself up and be vulnerable and be honest. The truth suppressed is going to hurt more. I guarantee you. If you're hiding the truth of who you are just to give in, to get along, that's hurting more. It's doing more damage than you being you and speaking your truth and not holding back just because you're afraid that they won't like it or that they will be hurt. So if you think you speaking your truth is going to hurt somebody, find a way find a way to go within, introspect, find a way through it from a place of absolute love and humility and charity, and then it'll hurt less. It still might hurt, but it'll hurt less. As long as people feel that you see them and you understand them and you acknowledge them and you're going to meet them where they are, then you're creating a space where you can speak your truth. So help that other person to feel safe first by seeing them, by hearing them, by acknowledging them, by understanding them. Then you can speak your truth. But don't speak your truth just at the expense of stepping all over somebody else. Hopefully that makes sense. Free will, there were a couple of things I had written here. Okay. Godly beings know what drives them. They know what fills their soul with love, and they move in that direction. That's profound. I did not, I wrote that, but I did not come up with it. It spilled out this morning and I was like, that is profound. Because it is. Godly beings know what fills their souls with love and they move in that direction. Unapologetically. If you don't fill yourself, find a way to fill your inner vessel with love, then what will happen is over time, as you serve others, in your life, your children, your loved ones, you'll do it begrudgingly. You'll have resentment because your needs aren't being met, because you're not meeting them. So you can eliminate that and really serve from a place of authentic, genuine love when you fill yourself with love. So find ways to connect with things that make you feel full of love, even if it's just going on a walk and talking to the trees and experiencing nature and just loving the day that you've been given. Sometimes connecting with material things in this world can fill you with love, and that might be meaningful too. So find the ways that work the best for you. For me, I've decided the two things that fill my soul with love is, number one, I need alone time. I have to have it. Otherwise, I get cranky and grumpy and resentful and mean. So I schedule in, even if I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to have it, I have to have my alone time where I can meditate and ponder and connect with source, with heaven, and connect with myself and think and pray and write and do those things that fill me up with joy. The other thing for me is music. It's a therapy for me. I love to sing. I love to write. I love to play. I love to listen to music. It is something that feeds my soul. And then the last thing is nature. I love being out in nature and connecting with this beautiful world. 5, fill yourself with love. We've already talked about that. Find the ways to fill yourself up. If you give and give and give and give until you're drained, until you're empty, and then you give begrudgingly and resentfully, that's not fair. That's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the people that you're serving, because ultimately you're just giving them more negativity. And then number 6, pour love out freely. Once you're filled, pour it out. It actually, once you get filled, you fill yourself with love, it'll be a motivating factor. You'll have this overwhelming desire to go out and literally serve people and love people and connect with them and meet them eye to eye, face to face, soul to soul, wherever they are. And whether they're awake to the same level that you are or not, it doesn't matter. You will just have the capacity to just meet them wherever they are from a place of absolute love and humility, and let them be who they are and show them that you see them, you hear them, you acknowledge them, you understand them. That's how love acts when a loving being has properly been filled with love. Okay, so when you stand in the sovereignty and in the solidarity of your great I am within you, the rest of the aspects of your relationships will just fall into place. The codependency will start to fall away and melt off. As you become independent, now you're ready to connect with other human beings interdependently. And that's next level relationship. That is next level. That is Zion. That is charity. That is unconditional, non-limited love. So as you go back into your body, I want you to drop down to the base of the spine right now and just let go of all of that tension and the bitterness and the stuff and the angst and the garbage that's in there from old past wounding, and just be willing to let that stuff go. Just release, relax, surrender. Breathe into that space, breathing into your body. Breathing into the entirety of your body, the entire center of you as it expands out into the universe and shine as big and as bright and bigger than the sun does. Going out in every direction. And I want you to say out loud, God loves me. And just think about God. Think about the love that God and the divine ones have for you. The creator of all that is. Think about that much love that creative being has for you. God loves me. Feel it. And breathe. Don't hold your breath. Going inside your body, dropping down, 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 being in the wholeness of the body. Now I want you to say, I am love. I am love. I am God's love. And then you can just refine that even down more to I am. Going within, saying out loud, I am. Woo, there we go. There's the shift right there. Just going into the beingness, going into your own self. I am. And last, I want you to say, I love them. And I want you to think of all the people who have harmed you or wronged you or triggered you or bothered you or aggravated you or did something wrong in the world. Think about all of them and just say, I love them. Because technically, you are them. They are a mirror reflection of what's going on inside of you. So technically, you are them. Breathe in, breathe out. I love them. I am them. So be gentle, be tender, be kind, be humble, be compassionate. Be willing to allow your love to be long-suffering until it isn't. Don't give up on people. Don't give up on yourself. Anybody have any further thoughts or any additional principles that they would apply to this foundation of interdependent love? What are thoughts that came to you guys? You can feel free to unmute your mic or type it into the chat. If there's anything that came up for you as we went through this exercise, fixing relationships is all about you. It all comes back to you. Go ahead, whenever you're ready. I'm just going to let you speak. You can unmute. Wow, you guys are really quiet today. And there was tons of people on today. Tons. Like, this is the most we've ever had on a class. So it's nice. It's nice to have you guys here. Nobody has anything additional or anything that they learned or anything they want to add. Go ahead, Mike.
I just really want to thank you. I really needed today. And I've been, over the past couple of weeks, definitely working on repairing some of those relationships in my life. And it's not always the easiest thing, but it's definitely worth it. And so I thank you for all the pointers that you gave today.
Yeah, it is worth it because you in the long run, you're ultimately doing this for yourself because it equates to liberation and freedom.
Right.
Mhm. Good.
And that last little part that you were saying, like, forgive people because you're a reflection of them. That definitely hit home.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Carla, what do you have?
She said, thank you. It was great and amazing, and everyone's probably processing.
Yeah, they probably are. That's good. Lorianne says, I needed this today. Last night, someone had dumped on me yesterday. This is exactly what I needed to lift the gunk. Good. Good. Don't dwell in the gunk. Feel the gunk for sure. Feel it because you're supposed to. But when you're done feeling it and you're ready to let it go and you're ready to release it and you're ready to ascend above it, then rise above. Anybody else?
I was also thinking infinite love.
Yeah. Yeah. Infinite love. That's perfect. Nicole, go ahead.
Something that my mom told me the other day was she heard about a near-death experience where a woman worked with another person and she had negative feelings towards that person, but she never expressed it. But in the near-death experience, Christ told her that even though she never expressed anything negative to this person, just those negative thoughts affected how that person worked with her. Mm-hmm. And so everything you've taught today, just, it feels so freeing to be able to, you know, whoever you have a problem with or a trigger, you can just love them and let it be, and it will help them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Biologically, it comes with, there are actual studies that have been done where they've shown that, I mean, they took people, this was an EFT study years ago. They took people, two women, put them into a closed room, and their job was to project mean thoughts onto the one man in the next room they'd never met. And they took samples of their blood, all three of them, before the experiment. And every one of them was pretty healthy, happy, high vibe, high energy. And their blood under the microscope was flowing freely out. The cells were all spread apart. Everything looked good and healthy. When they went through this experiment, they thought for sure that that his energy was going to be a lot more depressed because, or not his energy, but his blood was going to be more depressed and more clumpy. And when they took the blood samples after the experiment was over of the two women that projected onto him and then him, all his job was to just sit there and take it and feel it. All three of them experienced a clumping or a slowing of the blood flow. Their blood looked gray and sickly and clumpy and not flowing it flowed like a sick person. So it's evidence that anything you project onto anybody will have a biological effect on them and on you. It can't have an effect on them if they're conscious and they're in an elevated state and they've risen above it. But if they're not conscious about it, they're not aware, not in that place of awareness, then it will have a biological effect on their physical body. Karen, you have a comment.
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, you talked about, I remember you said there is no loss, and that wasn't today. Sorry. I need to go back and listen again because I got some interruptions, but I've been thinking about that. And I thought, wow, I do feel a tremendous loss. I have 4 kids. 2 of them have gone on a separate journey and just, I'm not part of it. Decided to just, eliminate me from their life. And that does feel like a huge loss.
Yeah. Yeah, that's painful. That's painful.
It really.
So your job then is to go within, find out where that pain lives inside of you, feel it, experience it for sure. But then when you're ready, choose to let that go and choose to move yourself back into a state of love so that you can be free of that suffering.
Okay. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, but you can do that. You can. It definitely is something that you can do. Haley says, this topic has been heavy on my heart for over a month, and this session is the answer I needed to progress through my relationship struggles with several family members. So thank you a ton for addressing this topic today. You're welcome. Shauna says, I feel that projection profoundly when I'm with my husband's family. I think they don't know. I feel that they've talked negatively about me, even if they're nice to my face. Yes, lots of intuitives can feel that for sure. Heather, I'm learning you cannot forgive from a wounded heart. So healing is prerequisite. Yes, absolutely. To a true forgiveness. Today was an exercise in healing my wounds by filling myself with love so that I can radically forgive. Forgiveness is coming. Yes, 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 yes. That's profound. I'm going to have to go back through and write that down. If your truth is a new belief system that seems threatening to other people, should you still try to speak that truth? I believe so. If you feel inspired to or prompted to, for sure. If you feel that speaking that truth is going to be harmful to somebody or undermine where they're at spiritually, emotionally, mentally, then no. Then no. Then those are situations where sometimes keeping your truth to yourself is probably the better option, because you don't want to undermine where somebody's at, especially where we're living in a world right now where people are coming in and going out of having these faith crises and leaving their positions in churches all over the globe. Not just churches, but societal rules and systemic rules like cultural programming and stuff like that. And as you continue to awaken, as you continue to enlighten your mind with new truths that you're learning, sometimes those new truths may end up undermining where someone else is. So it's helpful to first figure out where they're at first and meet them there. If they want to ascend, if they want to awaken to the things that you're learning, then they'll probably ask you questions. And then at that point, you can give them what is needed in the moment. But that has to be a very much an intuitive process. For me personally, I still attend my church that I was raised in, even though some of my beliefs are a little bit different than they used to be when I was growing up. I keep a lot of that stuff to myself because I don't want it to hurt the people that are there, that it's meaningful for them to be there and to be where they are. And you definitely want to have compassion and care and concern for where others are at. That's why you need to know. You need to understand people first before you just start blurting your truth. In many cases, it's important to speak your truth, but in some cases, maybe not. Okay. Anybody else have anything else before I let you go? The replay to this, I just had a comment or a question on the replay. You can find all the replays for the entire year's worth of classes for Greater Life, Greater Impact for this year. This year's theme was Manifesting Miracles and Healing the Past. We had some really profound classes this year. You can find those over at janetthurgood.com. But I'm feeling like maybe I need to put this up on my YouTube channel. So you can go to Greater Life, Greater Impact YouTube channel. And I'll just try to have that up there by the end of the day so that you guys have the replays. If you want to find that, go to my Facebook profile and that replay will also be posted there as well. Okay, love you guys. Thanks for participating today. Thank you for doing your inner work. I hope that you got a ton out of it. And I hope that you take this learning now and go into your relationships with greater levels of love, greater levels of understanding, greater levels of compassion, long suffering, humility, forgiveness, and peace inside of you so that you can love people unconditionally. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.